Welcome to day 2 from our Kapha season workshop, an Ayurvedic approach to transitioning and welcoming spring season. So today we're going to talk about healthy food choices for the springtime and our diet. Now during springtime we get a natural but distinct change in our cravings. With warmer weather, we often decline in our desires of eating heavier foods, which are typical in the winter season. Now, in fact, we start to prefer lighter foods, craving more fruits and vegetables, specifically those in season. So, this is basically your body naturally informing you that it is springtime. It is also time for cleaning our body, detoxifying and releasing that heaviness and staleness from the winter season. You can support your body's natural needs to purify and renew by favoring pungent, astringent, and bitter tastes. These habits help balance the mucus production that is heightened during the springtime and then help regulate moisture levels and serve to open the channels for elimination, which are very critical for purification during the season, as we discussed yesterday. It is important to drink warm room temperature water or beverages. I know, especially in the US, it is very common to drink ice cold water. It is not good for your digestive system, and it is just creating a very sluggish metabolism in a way and digestion. It is good to sip on warm beverages or water throughout the day, even during your meal times, even more after. And then eating plenty of seasonal fruit and vegetables, which are really just flourishing right now. But do not overdo it, as too much watery type of vegetables such as cucumbers, zucchini, sweet potato can have negative effects. So stick to the more leafy and starchy kind of vegetables. Now, what to eat when? It can get really confusing. So we start off with breakfast. As I mentioned yesterday, breakfast is light, somewhere between the times of 6 and maximum 8, 9, 10 the most. You really just want to have a lighter version, because in the morning kapha is enhanced. So kapha is a water element, and this is where agni, which is the digestive fire, is typically low before 10 a.m. So that's why we don't want to overload our digestive system with too much food to digest, because it will take a long time and then it will just make you feel sluggish. So prefer a light meal, warm water or beverage, and then avoid dairy at this season to eliminate that congestion we spoke about yesterday. Now moving on to lunchtime, somewhere between 12 and 2 p.m. Lunchtime is pitta heightened, which is the fire element. So now our agni, our digestive fire, is also at its highest during this hottest part of the day. So it is a good time to have a heavier meal. You can also consume your spices, your sweeter foods, and also your oilier and saltier foods during this meal, rather than breakfast or dinner. And then finally, for dinner time, again, somewhere between 5 and 7 p.m., not too much later, because then it will affect your sleeping routine. Dinner is back to kapha again, a water element, where again our agni is not too much heightened, a little bit lower, and so we need to again have a lighter meal. You can consume a warm beverage or water, and then avoid at this time any sugary, salty, greasy, oily type of foods, even frozen thing, because of the lower agni, and it won't be able to digest very well, and then you might not be able to sleep. So be mindful of what you consume before you go to bed. Something we don't realize, consume less salad or cold foods at nighttime. It is better to consume warmer foods like soup before going to bed, and more protein focus, so a little bit less carbs. It will help again with this faster digestion to help you go to bed. In our guidebook, I have included specific foods that are best for springtime. You can look through that list. We have foods that are favored, such as fruit and vegetables. We've got legumes and grains, seeds, oils, dairy, animal products, sweeteners, spices, and also herbs that you can take during this time. The herb section, I want to just discuss a little bit because during this springtime, we said is a time for detoxifying and purifying, cleansing and releasing. So, certain herbs can help you with that. For example, I believe that Triphala is a very good herb to take during this time. Usually, you take a tablet or two uh, before bedtime. It will help you with elimination the next day. So if you're having any issues with that, then I would recommend the Triphala. The other things I will mention are turmeric and aloe vera. You can create a combination in the aloe vera juice. You can drink that as a refreshment, and it can really help with detoxifying your liver during this period of time. And another herb known as Chiavan Prash, it can help with boosting your energy and also supporting your immune system, where this season can tend to be a little bit lower than usual due to the mucus and phlegm increase of the Kapha watery season. And finally, Tulsi, which is also known as holy basil. I personally prefer it as a tea. I find it very soothing, and it is a very good herb to take at the moment to support your lungs and heart. So, for those who did not complete the Fall Ayurveda challenge we had back in fall, you can recap this part by going back if you have forgotten about your dosha. You can also utilize under our files the journal I have added. It can help you learn more about your individual dosha. And if you have no idea about anything, then you can look into those videos or you can research a little bit about it. But before you understand what a dosha is and understand what your dosha is, your dominant dosha, you might have some difficulty putting this into practice. So take a pause if you like, look into your dosha. There's a quiz I had added there. I will add it one more time so that you will learn what your dominant dosha is, and you can come back and check in your guidebook which diet or which section is really ideal for you. So for food choices and our diet during the springtime, for the Pitta dosha dominant people, where fire and water are more heightened, we're going to opt for more cooling and moderately heavy types of food. Need to increase the more pungent, the sour, and the salty tastes, and we need to decrease the sweeter tastes during the season. It's also best to avoid coffee as it can create imbalance and irritability. And then also be very mindful of too many herbs and spices because of the fire that is already within you. You don't want to have any heightened spices because that can aggravate the Pitta dosha. So something you can really use is licorice at this point because it's very good for phlegm loosening and also really cooling for this season. Now for those who are more Kapha dosha dominant, which is more water and earth elements, we're looking more into stimulating and warming type of foods. Avoid sweet flavors and cold foods as they take long to digest again, and include invigorating warming spices. Limit your salt intake as it can retain a lot of excess water within. Since it's again Kapha season, water, moisture, internal moisture, it's just too much. So really try to eliminate all those kind of saltier foods. Finally, those who are more Vata dominant, then we are dealing with the air and the ether kind of elements. We are focusing more on calming, nourishing, and soothing foods. Prefer warmer meals, and then be regular with your meal. The Vata dosha, the airy type of people, tend to not stick with routine as much. So Stick to your mealtime, if anything. If you cannot do anything else, just focus on the meal. And do not skip or overeat, as there's a tendency, as this will unfortunately contribute to the sluggishness and the lethargy kind of like energy that you might feel. So this is it for day 2. Look through your guidebook. I am going to add a few links and suggestions and recommendations that you can look into, including some recipes. I understand that everyone has our individual diet. Some are vegan, some are vegetarian, some eat animal products, some are pescatarian. So I respect everybody's diet. Some people have certain allergies and limitations. So the important thing is to find what suits you best, and also go constantly with the season. Really choose what is available and wherever you live, that is in season and that is fresh as much as possible. So we try always to eliminate toxicity and things that will create stale energy. Just a brief discussion for you to have an idea. In Ayurveda and the yogic philosophy, we believe in the gunas, which are 3 properties. Basically, we have the tamas element, which are anything that is creating dullness and it's creating an obscureness to our awareness. It isn't allowing us to release our power. Things like fear and avoidance and aggression accumulate in this kind of like property, and then it doesn't allow us for rest and sleep, hinders our self-inquiry and our meditation, and it can make us feel apathetic, lazy, sluggish, foggy, heavy, and prone to depression. So these are related not only to behaviors and thoughts and activities that we might choose to do, but also to food. So basically, the tamas are foods that literally destroy our resistance to disease and clouds the mind and promotes negative emotions. So unfortunately, things like red meat and fried food, frozen food, canned or stale food, refined sugars, soda, overeating can be tamas, as well as tobacco, alcohol, drugs, all those kind of things. So they're very low in vibration and don't allow us to enhance our life. So basically anything that doesn't have much taste and vitality in it and doesn't have much to offer us. Like even things like burnt food or hard to digest food, overspiced, modified ingredients, and food heated in a microwave oven, they don't really help your energy. Now the Raja part of the guna property is something that gives us overstimulation. It is the energetic mind. It distorts awareness. It projects power, desire, and this is where anxiety lays. It gives us motivation, so it has good and bad points, but it can also hinder our self-inquiry and meditation because the energy is just too hyper. So it will make you feel very busy, passionate, but aggressive, frustrated, overexcited, and also prone to this anxious energy. So foods that give us motivation and keep us attached to our ego and also is where our desires lay, then that would be more Raja based. Things which are spicy, overstimulating, creates restlessness and excites the mind. So things like chicken, eggs, onion and garlic, dark lentils, citrus fruits, very spicy foods, chocolate, salt, and also coffee and black tea because of the caffeine. So this is where we have to be cautious about eating a little bit too fast, because we are so excited and very motivated, then we tend to eat a little bit too fast, basically engulfing the food and not digesting it well. So additional things such as spicy, sour and salty foods like chili, cayenne pepper, garlic, horseradish, as well as leeks, onions, vinegar, tomato, mustard, celery, and highly salted foods like crisps and pretzels, pickled beets, cucumbers, and capers. All of these would reside in the Raja property of the guna. And finally, we have the Sattva property, which is basically foods that promote purity of the mind, peace, intelligence, and right decision making. So they're more pure, light, sweet, and it allows for energy, fluidity, and flowing. So things like warm milk, herbal tea, ghee, which is clarified butter, grains, fresh fruit and vegetables, honey, nuts, mung beans, and this is basically where we'll feel at peace while eating. So rather than feeling rushed or overeating, we would simply feel in gratitude and enjoyment in what we're eating. So important to have freshly made foods with organic ingredients, high in life force energy, and that are mild to sweet type of taste. Sattva creates a more clear mind and also a more calming environment. It reveals our awareness and our power. It is allowing us to live our truth and beingness, and allows for discernment. It also facilitates self inquiry and meditation. So you might feel more easygoing, more balanced, more peaceful, more harmonious, and content. So, foods which would be here and activities, thoughts, and behaviors will help us reach a better evolutionary journey and growth. So, it is important to understand that it is okay to intermingle between the three as long as we have higher sattvic kind of foods and somewhere between sattva and raja, and we start to eliminate as much as we can from the tama property of the gunas. So in this manner, you're creating a more holistic and a more mindful and conscious way of eating, making better food choices, ideal for the season, ideal for your own personal needs and your body. So that's it for day 2 about food choices and diet for the spring. I hope you look through it and you take your time to analyze your dosha and find out what suits you personally best and how you can adapt your diet during the season and make the best food choices you can according to your situation and your personal needs. I look forward to discussing about our pranayama and yoga asana choices for day 3 tomorrow. Thank you for joining me today again.